when Shedeur gets his chance, okay, you know, the stuff that people were worried about, the galvanization, the personality of him, the way he galvanizes and does things uniquely. It's absolutely the only chance possible right now because, right, it's too tough now. But that poor young man, it's not Halloween yet. Okay, so he has to stay alive through Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Day. All right, and that ain't even the playoffs.
All that praise from a legend hitting another legend in the making felt wild because Bernie Kosar didn't hold back for a second when he spoke on Shedeur Sanders. He wasn't just impressed, he was blown away. Bernie kept talking about how special Shedeur has looked, and every word sounded like it came from someone who's watched greatness for decades and knows exactly what it looks like. And Bernie didn't stop there. He took a clean shot at the decision makers who've been acting clueless about Dylan Gabriel. He basically called out the front office and the coaching staff for pretending they don't know what's right in front of them. And honestly, it feels like the whole world is finally waking up. Fans, analysts, former players, big names, everyone's lining up on the same side except Kevin Stefanski and the small circle around him who still seem locked into their own strange little plan to hold Shedeur back. At this point, it's bigger than football. It's about doing what's fair and doing what's right.
Shedeur could be a spark that helps the players play better.
So, yeah, but look at, he fires me up. I want to play better. I'm physically not good enough to beat you, okay? Those players aren't physically good enough to play the teams they're playing, all right? Look at the men that we are playing against. Okay, you're not trying, okay, you can fire me up. You do fire me up. I want to fall. I'll run through a wall for him, okay? But look at me. I'm only gonna delay the guy killing you a couple seconds. And I'll only do that once because I'll be dead, okay? So it's a personnel issue too.
Bernie laid it down perfectly. This man has been around the NFL for years, seen every type of player come and go, and he can spot the difference between hype and real substance instantly. When he talks about Shedeur Sanders, he isn't guessing. He's confirming what everybody's been thinking but hesitated to say out loud. He knows Shedeur has the full package, and he didn't hide it for a second. Shedeur carries a type of leadership that can't be taught, a calmness that settles a whole offense, and an energy that gets grown men locked in. When Bernie uses the word galvanizing, he's talking about something rare, something that only shows up in players who can shift a whole locker room just by walking through the door. Shedeur steps in and people pay attention, not because they're told to, but because they feel that drive right away. That's the difference between being good and being great, and Bernie sees it clearly. The fans see it, the media sees it. So why is Stefanski pretending like he can't see it too? That's the question everybody keeps asking, and Bernie didn't ignore it. His warning about Shedeur needing to stay alive through the season wasn't just a dramatic line, it was real concern coming from someone who recognizes the pressure surrounding this kid. Bernie knows Shedeur is fighting two different battles right now, one against the teams trying to stop him on the field, and another against the internal politics he never should have been facing in the first place. Bernie made it clear, the problem isn't Shedeur's talent, it's the environment around him, and he said it loud because he wants people to understand how much this young quarterback is carrying, while some of the very people who should be backing him are making his road tougher instead of easier. Shedeur deserves real support, not hidden agendas, and Bernie just put the whole situation on blast. Why should a young quarterback be the one carrying all this chaos on his shoulders when the staff is supposed to shield him from it? Why isn't the building doing everything possible to protect him, develop him, and set him up to thrive instead of trapping him inside their own confusion? Bernie is basically telling the Browns to snap out of it before they destroy something special. Because if a legend like Bernie is publicly showing love to Shedeur Sanders, that alone should be a giant clue for everyone paying attention. This isn't just praise, it's recognition of potential that's already showing on the field. But Stefanski and his crew keep acting like they can't see any of it, and that makes people wonder, why? Is it ego? Is it fear? Or are they simply too stubborn to admit they misjudged the entire situation? Bernie's words hit like a reality check, a reminder that this young quarterback has everything needed to flip the future of the Browns if the people in charge stop blocking his path, and that's the real point Bernie is making. Shedeur doesn't need saving, he needs a fair chance. The sad part is that the only people slowing him down are the same ones who should be pushing him forward. That's wild when you think about it. Bernie is calling it straight. Leadership only works when your coaches put the right players, structure, and system around you. They're supposed to elevate you, not make you fight uphill every single week. You can have all the heart on the planet, but heart alone doesn't win games when the people running the show keep placing you in losing situations. Bernie isn't sugarcoating anything. He knows Shedeur has that spark, that fire that makes grown men dig deeper, play harder, and believe in something bigger than themselves. He's the kind of quarterback who raises the level of everyone around him. But what's the point of having that type of energy when the rest of the team isn't being built to match it? And that right there is the core of Cleveland's problem. Bernie is putting the spotlight on a truth fans have been yelling for weeks. No amount of motivation can repair a system that's cracked from the inside. You can't inspire your way out of a flawed structure. And when Bernie says it, it hits in a different way because he lived it. He knows exactly what it feels like to pour everything into a franchise while the people above you refuse to meet you halfway. Bernie's message is loud. Shedeur has the juice, the talent, and the presence. But until the people in control stop holding him back, Cleveland is wasting something electric. And if we're being real, Bernie isn't talking out of nowhere. Everything he's saying lines up perfectly with what's been happening to Shedeur Sanders from day one. The kid has been pushed to the side with no real explanation, while the team keeps stacking losses like it's a routine, including that painful embarrassment against the Patriots that had no business happening. The offense looked slow, confused, and completely lost. And somehow the story is still that Shedeur wasn't ready. That's just Stefanski's go-to excuse at this point, and everybody knows it. Then came the injury drama. The same staff claiming he couldn't practice suddenly got exposed when he was seen throwing not long after. So who exactly were they trying to fool? How long do they think they can deny him reps while pretending they're developing him? At some point the lies start sounding sloppy, and this situation crossed that line a long time ago. And now, after all the chaos, Shedeur heads back to Colorado for a breather. And honestly, who can blame him? When a quarterback shows up prepared, puts in the work, and still gets blocked by a coach's ego, what else is he supposed to do? What's left for him to prove when the problem isn't his talent? It's the environment around him. Bernie sees this plain as day. He knows Shedeur brings that passion, that fire that gets teammates locked in and ready to go hard every single snap. He's the type of player guys would run through a wall for, and that kind of presence doesn't come around often.
Nail in a coffin in Shedeur, because it won't be his fault either.
So you're saying that when Shedeur gets his chance, we shouldn't write him off after 4 or 3, whatever the games is?
No, because all the same issues are still there, and they're probably going to get worse because we're going to trade guys.
Yeah, well,
okay. Yeah, and the guys are going to get hurt, and they don't come back at the end of the year when you're hurt and you're injured.
Do you think that,
you know the game?
Bernie is basically saying that by the time Shedeur finally gets his shot, the team might already be crumbling around him, and people need to understand that before they even think about pointing fingers. And he's absolutely right, because let's be honest, this organization created their own chaos and then acted confused when things blew up. You can't throw a young quarterback into a system that's broken from the ground up, with half the roster hurt, players getting traded, bad communication everywhere, and morale in the basement, and then try to say he failed. That's not failure. That's sabotage dressed up as opportunity. And the way this has played out makes it look like Stefanski planned it that way, because otherwise none of it makes sense. Bernie knows the league, he's lived inside the pressure, and he's calling out what a lot of people were scared to admit. The internal issues weren't going anywhere, and they were always going to land on Shedeur's shoulders the moment he stepped onto that field. Bernie sees the truth, and he's making sure everybody else sees it too. When Shedeur Sanders finally steps in, nothing magically changes, just because the staff throws new blood into the fire. If anything, it gets even messier when your top players are hurt. The roster is stretched thin, and the locker room feels like it's hanging together with tape and hope. And here's the wild part. Bernie is already predicting exactly how this will play out. He's warning that Shedeur is about to take the fall for problems that were never his to begin with, and that's a brutal truth to admit. That right there is the real nail in the coffin. Bernie is pointing out how a whole narrative is being built around Shedeur before he even gets a fair chance. How can any quarterback thrive when he's walking straight into a storm created by his own coaching staff? Bernie isn't making excuses for Shedeur. He's exposing the situation that everyone else is too nervous to say out loud. The Browns are positioning this whole thing so that when the system collapses, they can blame the young quarterback instead of owning their mistakes. And that's why Bernie's words hit so hard. They're a warning. He's trying to stop this team from burying Shedeur before the kid even gets a chance to show the league what he can really do.
Kevin Stefanski, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth because no one's told me this, but you have to protect your quarterback. Even if your quarterback, even at the end of my career when I was not as good as I should have been, I did not believe in myself. And when you believe in yourself, even if it's fake, okay, then you at least have a chance to do something with it, okay? And the belief of that, you know, of trying to get them into the game, Mike Vrabel knew it. And it wasn't because Mike Vrabel was a coach here last year. Okay, that's Belichick, Saban, that's the NFL, okay?
Bernie's message hits even deeper when you compare Shedeur's mindset to someone like Dillon Gabriel. Gabriel has been handed opportunity after opportunity, but he hasn't shown he can carry a team when the pressure kicks in. He doesn't have that spark, that inner belief Bernie was talking about. Gabriel plays careful, plays scripted, plays safe, almost like he's trying not to mess up instead of trying to win. And you can't fake leadership, and you definitely can't fake the confidence that gets grown men to trust you in the huddle. Gabriel looks stiff the second things get uncomfortable. He tightens up, he gets cautious, and he fades when the moment calls for someone to rise. That's the complete opposite of Shedeur. Shedeur steps into chaos and finds a way to lead anyway. He doesn't run from pressure, he responds to it. That's why his college resume is so impressive. He put up numbers, dragged his team through tough games, and kept fighting even when everything around him was falling apart. That's the difference right there. Shedeur has the presence and the mindset to elevate a broken team, while Gabriel crumbles when the heat hits. And Bernie knows that. He's calling it out before the whole situation gets twisted against Shedeur, because someone needed to say it loud. You can hand Dillon Gabriel the cleanest playbook in the league, give him strong protection, and set him up with every advantage possible. And somehow he still finds a way to look unsure out there. That's not leadership. That's just holding a spot until someone with real command steps in.
But if the quarterback doesn't have the tools around him, okay, there's hard and firm rules that he can't be successful. And then you could overcome sometimes some of the lack of separation from us DBs and being able to do that if you've got the Justin Aver, Dan Marino, okay, Josh Allen firearm where you could rocket it up. Because in the old school games that Don Shula, Bear Bryant, Paul Brown, they did this back scientifically, and versions of this still happen.
And that's exactly where both Dillon Gabriel and Kevin Stefanski completely missed the point. Gabriel doesn't have the arm talent, the burst, or the fast reads needed to make the throws Bernie is talking about. He's predictable, and the second the play breaks down, he freezes like he doesn't know what comes next. You can't depend on a scripted game forever. There are moments when a quarterback has to create, adapt, and take control. But Stefanski, he's over there calling plays like he's scared to trust the quarterback running his own offense. That's why the whole unit looks stuck in the mud. It's a system built on fear instead of confidence. You can see it in every snap. This is a coach babysitting his quarterback instead of letting him actually lead. And the wild part is that Stefanski's attitude toward Shedeur Sanders has pushed him into doing some genuinely embarrassing things on the field and in the game plan. You can't run an NFL offense like that and expect results, ever. Meanwhile, you've got Shedeur, a young quarterback who actually has the timing, accuracy, and presence to make those tight 2.7-second throws Bernie described. He processes the field faster, he sees openings quicker, and he's not scared to pull the trigger when the window is small. That's the type of quarterback who keeps your offense alive and dangerous. Yet somehow, Stefanski keeps him parked on the sideline, while Gabriel runs one of the most lifeless offenses in the entire league. It's confusing, it's frustrating, and it makes absolutely no sense to anyone watching. Shedeur has the skill set this team desperately needs, but he's stuck behind a system that refuses to trust him while rewarding a quarterback who can't move the chains when it matters. Stefanski thinks he's playing it safe, but he's really holding back the only guy who can change everything. Actually, it's not somehow at all. Everyone already knows why Stefanski keeps doing this to Shedeur Sanders, and the whole thing feels like a straight-up joke. So here's the real question. What exactly are Stefanski and the Browns waiting on? How many more losses does this team need to suffer before they finally admit that Gabriel is not the answer? How many more underthrown passes do fans have to stomach? How many more painful 3-and-outs before somebody in that building finally says, enough is enough? Why is Shedeur still sitting in Colorado when it's clear he has the tools Bernie already described? The exact tools the Browns desperately need this season. Why is a head coach still protecting mediocrity instead of building a real offense around a quarterback with raw, explosive talent? And why does Gabriel still get a free pass when everyone can see he's holding this whole team back week after week? Stefanski keeps acting like Shedeur isn't ready. But ready for what exactly? Ready to carry the same offense that Gabriel keeps dragging down every single Sunday? Bernie laid out the truth with zero hesitation. This game is about speed, accuracy, and guts, and Shedeur has all three. Gabriel doesn't, and Stefanski still refuses to admit it. leaving fans stuck watching everything fall apart in slow motion.
And right now, the Browns and the players need to be self-prepared.
They are not.
And the organization. And unfortunately, like even in the spot I'm in, I'm having to be really selfish to get myself healthy, and then I hope someone learns and could benefit, and I'm going to give that to you. Well, right now, this is it's not even Halloween yet, and everybody's in preservation mode. You know, no matter what they say, they're in preservation mode. And I know we want to kind of get to the quarterbacks and to the offense and to the play calling and that. And give me some leeway on what comes out of my mouth and stuff because of some of the stuff I'm going through. So I don't really have the...
Bernie said what nobody inside the Browns organization has the courage to say out loud, that this team is trapped in survival mode instead of fight mode. They're playing scared instead of playing to win. And until that mindset changes, no quarterback will ever thrive in a setup this unstable, no matter how talented he is. Bernie's warning isn't hating, it's honesty coming from someone who's lived through the pressure and knows exactly what a sinking system looks like. And right now, Cleveland is sinking while their most gifted quarterback sits on the sideline waiting for a chance he's already earned. Shedeur is ready. The real question is whether the Browns are. And now everything Bernie warned about is standing right in front of Cleveland like a giant spotlight nobody can ignore anymore. The walls are shaking, the fan base is restless, and the truth is louder than any press conference. This entire situation was never about talent. It was about ego, control, and fear. And Shedeur Sanders has been fighting against all three without even stepping onto the field yet. The Browns keep pretending this chaos just happened, but everybody watching knows better. When a young quarterback with real timing, real poise, and real leadership is pushed aside, while a struggling offense gets dragged through the mud every week, that's not an accident, that's a choice. And Bernie Kosar didn't hesitate to call it out because he's seen this story before, and he knows exactly how it ends if nothing changes. The craziest part? None of this had to happen. The Browns had the spark sitting right there, ready to ignite the whole season, and they still chose to roll with the same predictable script until everything cracked open. They kept defending Gabriel like he was carrying the team, when everyone could see he was barely surviving out there. They kept insisting Shedeur wasn't ready, even though he had the traits they claimed to be looking for in the first place. Now the pressure is boiling over. The media is asking questions, the fans are demanding answers, and even legends like Bernie are stepping in because the silence inside the building says everything. This is bigger than play calls and depth charts. This is about the Browns deciding whether they want to evolve or crumble under their own stubbornness, because sooner or later, they'll have to face the truth they've been running from. Shedeur Sanders isn't the problem. He's the solution they keep ignoring. The kid has handled everything with discipline, patience, and fire, even when the coaching staff built obstacles in his way. He didn't fold. He didn't complain. He stayed ready while the team around him fell into survival mode. And that's exactly why the moment he finally steps onto that field, the entire narrative changes instantly. Bernie sees it, the fans see it, everybody outside the building sees it. The only question left is whether Cleveland will open their eyes before it's too late. Because if this franchise keeps protecting comfort over competition, pride over progress, and excuses over execution, then they're not just holding Shedeur back. They're holding their entire future hostage. And trust this, if Shedeur finally gets unleashed, the whole league is going to feel that shift the second he takes his first snap. If you've been watching this saga unfold and you're ready for the truth without filters, you're in the right place. Tap in with Huddle Files, hit that subscribe button, and stay locked in. Because this story is only getting wilder, and the next chapter might just change everything. Huddle Files, where real football talk actually lives. If this saga had you shook, wait till you see what's next. You already know what it is. Huddle Files got the real, raw, and unfiltered breakdowns. So don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to catch up.